It is a lie. The United States is not a country of immigrants. They say all in the US are immigrants except the indigenous people. It sounds very good, yes, but the United States is not a country of immigrants. The United States has received millions of immigrants from other countries, that is true, especially since 1965 after the adoption of the Immigration and Nationality Act by Ted Kennedy. But that does not mean that it is a country of immigrants or that it owes its prosperity to them. The United States was created, founded, and populated by British Protestants, who were in a great majority English, but also Scottish and Irish. With the exception of the important group of Germans, the settlers spoke the same language, they were of the same ethnic group, and they had a homogeneous culture. The writers of the Declaration of Independence were also descendants of the British, and so they knew of Locke's principles and the philosophy of English Enlightenment, which was the foundation of the ideas of the American Revolution. Not only was it inspired by the latter philosophical background, the system of law that was implemented in America was also British, that the common law, different from the Roman law of the Spanish and Portuguese colonies. The country that founded the American settlers is a branch of the British civilization and resembles all countries of the Commonwealth. American institutions are heirs of the British, its system of law is British, its traditions are British. The U.S. has a distinct ethnic and cultural essence, which is neither diverse nor constructed by immigrants. It should be clarified that an immigrant and a settler are not the same. An immigrant is a person who reaches an existing system before he arrived. The immigrant reaches a country that already exists and it accommodates him or not. A settler is not that. A settler arrives at a territory in which there is no system and he builds it. To give an example, the American settlers in no way resemble the Italian immigrants that arrived in the 1970s. The English Puritans who founded the colonies of New England in what was previously undeveloped land look very little like Jose, who arrived yesterday from Chiapas and became a gardener. It is also necessary to clarify the difference between a territory and a country. The settlers were not immigrants who came to America to displace, or like the liberals like to say, massacre the Indians. The settlers came to a territory where the only thing that was there was Indian teepees, and it was they who founded what today we know as the United States. If it were not for British colonization of North America, the system would still be tribal, exchange would continue through barter, and the only major technological advances would be rudimentary cultivation of corn. An immigrant is a person who arrives in a country that already is constituted. The settlers are not immigrants. British settlers came to a territory that used to be indigenous and built something radically new in their own, a country. A prosperous society with solid institutions, Protestant values. They built the justice system, a currency, and continue to develop their society to this day. A society that belongs to them, that was born of their customs, their beliefs, and their way of life. A society that in essence is British, Protestant, and white. It is normal to worry more about what happens in great countries. Who cares about what happens in poor countries that nobody gives a fuck about? Because obviously you don't have anything in common with them. We belong to the same civilization, the West. We do not share anything with them, nor ethnic groups, or languages, or culture, or anything. They are strange people in a far country, and with luck, we will never visit them. Their destiny does not concern us, nor do we care about them. At this time, immigration in the U.S. is out of control. Immigrants are damaging the country, so our first priority should be to stop them. For this, it is necessary for the U.S. government to intervene, deport criminals, this Latino minority disguised, if you want to call it that, of Native Americans, implement obstacles, and withdraw the privileges that will allow the situation of chaos to perpetuate. It is in the interest of any Westerner that the United States be a strong country. The stronger the United States, the stronger the West, and the weaker its enemies. Crossing a border does not magically make you a member of another culture. Illegal immigrants of this type do not acquire a moral code overnight. Most likely, they will continue to dedicate themselves to what they have always dedicated themselves to, crime.